So today, within the framework of a yoga class, we will prepare our bodies with some fascia release work before we get into hip opening routines. So our lower leg builds up a huge amount of congestion. Our feet build up a huge amount of congestion because we stand and walk on our feet all day. Yoga tune-up balls is two sizes. They are interchangeable. You can use tennis balls in a sock as a replacement for this. I'm working with the smaller balls, and we're going to be working down the shin bone in the front. So we have a bone that runs from this knob up here, and when it gets down to the bottom, it actually ends up as the bulge of the ankle bone. And then if you feel around your knee on the side, you can feel the side bone. It's called the fibula, and it runs down the side and gets into the outer heel. This line, so between these two, can build up a huge amount of adhesions and also the bone into the muscle on this side. So what we're going to do is very slowly roll down the balls on either side so that they iron out and start to break this up. If you have two sets of sizes, we're going to do it twice. So we start with the smaller size and get into the larger size, because the larger size will cover more surface. So let's start with the right foot. I'm taking the ball and placing it right. First of all, get it into the soft part, right between the kneecap and the beginning of the hardness of the shin. Just feel into this area, and then roll your foot a little bit further forward. So now I'm on my bone. So when you get onto the bone, just see if you can press into it. You do need already a certain amount of flexibility in your knees, and slowly see if you can sit down. If you happen to be stiff in the knee, you can get a pillow, a book or something so you don't take your bottom so low. Actually, that's really nice. So I'm hiked up because what it does is it's throwing more of my weight into the ball. And that's what you want. You want to really feel the pressure of the balls on either side of the bone, so you start to sink in. And just take a moment here and really feel into this area and allow the tissue to open. It can get very tight. I'm going to be rolling side to side, and I can feel the tightness and the opening that's starting to kick in. So it feels really good. Then from here, I've moved forwards. I was up here, I've moved down a little bit. Completely different texture. Let me move back, stay in the camera, and sit down again. So how you use your body weight is your call. You want to take a little time and feel where is it tight and what feels like that's what your body wants. You want to really dig into it. They say that the legs, among other things, I mean, it makes your joints and everything move better, but we basically get stuck with our energy flow. The whole nervous system gets congested. We don't have as much free flowing energy, and I hope you will feel a difference at the end, because really we are pulling energy up from the earth through our feet, and it's cycling through the system. And we're wearing sneakers all day. We're not connecting to the earth, but still there's the energy system in the body. From here, a little bit further forward. Now I'm bringing my knee down and sitting back from that place, and then slowly rocking back. Oh, can I feel the tightness? And it's almost a ripping feeling. Again, each of us is different. Each of us, our tolerance level is different, but sensation, of course, pressure, separation in a sense, pulling, ripping. It's almost like it's the fascia fibers being separated out and opened up. Sometimes people have tingly or flushing feeling because the circulation starts to pour in. You can probably feel the effect all the way into the foot. I'm going to put the ball back, and yep, that for me puts more weight into the balls. Moving further forward, ooh, this is a good one for me. And I like to start doing a bit of a seesaw. So I'm staying on the ball, just using my body weight. And then starting to rock back and forth. So notice now my knee is off the ground. Now my knee is on the ground. So going back and forth like this. Very useful. Dragging the knee forward so the ball goes lower. Oh, yes. Again, back and forth. Dragging further forward. Oh, now I'm starting to sit. This is a great place to start to notice what's happening in your feet. And we all can have feet that can be further evolved. You can, in an ideal anatomy, the foot should be going straight back, but the foot also designed to curl inwards and curl outwards, and the ankle should have lots of space, rotational movement. So you can play with different places your feet are in order to get more separation and life and movement cultivated. Further forward, again sitting back. I'm going to test with the ball. Again, this is interchangeable, or with, because it's starting to slip, oh, that's an interesting way. The reason I really invite you to experiment is because there's no one exact way to do this. It's using the technique and the position of what we're doing. I have to be sure, bugger. Stay on the balls. Stay on the balls. So I adjust so it's more visible. Right. That's better. Yeah. Really nice. Now you may start to feel the connection of the low shin bone into the ankle joint. Usually the foot becomes locked and fixed, and calcification and tightness gets built up in there, and you can start to really figure out how to make space or start to address that. Further forward, I'm almost at my ankle joint, but not quite. So there's that exact spot. This is what I call the joint right between the structure of the foot and the shin. So I'm like almost there. Then we're going to go there. So this is a really interesting place to start to look at your feet. Move them around, because we're locking the ankle bone in one spot, and then it allows the little bones of the feet to start to move. You can also just put pressure. This is nice. Into the sole of the foot and spread it a little bit. This is very nice. These little kind of routines are fabulous to do if you've been walking, hiking on your feet all day, and your legs are achy and tired and fatigued, or if you're a runner and you've been running, because there's a huge amount of repetition and fluids get stuck and trapped. Okay, now we are right at the crease. This area gets very locked up. It feels wonderful when it's open and loose. So there's a lot of congestion in your body. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's worth opening up the joints. It really is. increasing your potential. It's optimizing what your body can do. It's anti-injury. It optimizes energy. I'm just trying to think. Makes you walk better, gets you more grounded, makes you more light on your feet, brings a spring into your step. A spring can only happen from nice, juicy, loose, mobile joints and muscles and tendons. And most people walk clump, clump, clump. If you think of humans walking, they're usually heavy. And you very seldom see this light, springy quality because we kind of have a lot of room to work on ourselves and kind of bring back the ability that should be there. Okay, we're going into the fun part, onto the arch. So we're now on the foot. We're on the bony part at the top of the foot. Whoa, serious stuff. If it's too much, don't go so deep. You can always lighten up the pressure. You don't have to go deep. You don't want to go deep. You want to find the exact place where the resistance you can meet your own resistance and feel that the tissue is opening rather than blocking. If you go too deep, too fast, your body's going to fight you. It's going to know that it's a dangerous place to go to because you're not ready, and it will fight and stop. So you don't want to go to that place. You're not at war with yourself. You're in love. Further down. Now we're going off the top of the foot. Now we're in this more tendinous area where you're moving towards the toes. This should be a very soft and mobile, usually very tight. People often get lots of cramps in the feet because all of the tissue here is dry, stuck, frozen, doesn't move, has become solidified. Rigor mortis has set into your feet, and we don't want that. Down you go a little bit more. And final part, into the toes, stretching the toes. Again, if it's too much, you can be up. If you're capable, if your feet are super flexible and this is easy, look at your alignment and see if you can organize the shape of the foot. Maybe the foot's all in, get it straight. Maybe it's all out, get it straight. Do something to find areas that you can improve on the structure and release and expand it all the way to the tips of the toes. And off you come. Whoa. Stretch your feet out. Out to your knees, up and down. Give me, I'm still trying to get this mat in line with the camera. And now the fun part. Pull the toes up, bend the knees, and then stretch. Just notice my heels are not moving, and see if you feel a difference between your right and left leg. How does your foot feel? How does your shin feel? Also, let's do this. Let's take the feet. Let's see if you can sit on your heels. How does one foot feel in relation to the other? A lot of people can't sit like this. Maybe you're one of them right now. Genetically, the human body has a capacity to sit like this and be comfortable. So this is a baseline standard the human body is designed to do. We become so tight and we sit in chairs and we never, we basically have been using the full range of movement and we've gotten dry and stuck. So we start again now, other leg right at the soft spot. This is interesting to sit because now we're taking the kneecap and the top of the bone right in that soft area and just giving it a little pressure. Very useful. This is Tinkerbell. Move a little bit further forward. Now we're on the bony structure. And sit back down. Take a moment to feel. This leg is much tighter for me. I can feel the pull all the way down the shin bone. I'm sure you have a nice story to tell as well. I hope so. If you don't refine your alignment, I'm not saying you may be perfect, but you probably are somebody that is very, very loose in one way. Maybe you're very much, your calf is rolled out and your foot is a little bit, you've got more weight into the outer foot. Maybe, I don't know. And if you just adjust the skeletal system a little, you'll uncover gold in a new dimension. So it's worth enjoy that you have the skill and the ability. Also check your heel bone. Most people's heel bone is not centralized to the knee and the hip. So let's say my heel wants to roll out, completely changes the work. So I'll sometimes keep checking that the heel is centered, and I expose where the tightness is that's keeping the heel bone out. That's where it gets so interesting to keep trying to sort out your own, decode your own physiology and optimize it, up level it. A little bit further forward. Oh, yes, lots of tension now. Releasing into it a bit more. Starting to move back and forth. A little bit further forward. Rocking. Right there. Putting a block to increase the pressure. For me, this works very nicely. I haven't done it this way before. So, oh my goodness, this is exposing a lot of my gold. This is Twilight. He's my assistant. And moving a little bit further forward, Twilight, you're not the star of the show today. Right here. Taking a moment. And moving, I'm going to move back, but you move down. I hope you're finding some interesting places. My dog, who's out of camera, has a little bone, and the little bone is bringing the primitive quality out of him, which means he thinks everybody wants to steal his bone, and so he's there growling every time a cat comes by, because he's sure that's primary on their interest level. Nobody wants that stinky, stupid, dried up bone, except for him. Further forward. Oh yes, it's nice to distract myself from what's going on. When I lean back, I can feel the tissue in the front of the shin bone being stretched. Such an amazing way to stretch and open your physiology, getting into the fascia. Further forward. Rocking a little bit further and forward and back. Straight. This side, I can feel my foot keeps wanting to roll in. Wants to roll in. It has a pattern. Just to give you, you want to map your own body. What happened in your life? Why are you the way you are? No judgment, no criticism, just like a scientific study and how amazing this body is. So when I was 18, I had a really bad fall where I twisted my left ankle severely. I was frozen from my toes up to my knee. I was swollen, I'm sorry, from my toes to my knee, and it took many weeks to bring the swelling down. I later had an osteopath say that I should have broken bones by the degree of impact and by the degree that the bones were jammed out. So sadly, at the time, the the professionals that I went to never even did anything about anything. They never put the bones back, which would have been the right time to do it. So I have always had this rather crooked ankle that I've taken years to keep working on and refining back into a better place. But I can feel the pattern. The memory pattern is still there, and the physiological pattern is still there, and the pull to give into the shape that I probably fell into. And how do I rebalance everything and shrink the parts that were overstretched, stretch the parts that become too short, keep unwinding that. It's very cool. It's amazing who we are, what we hold, why things happen to us. Makes us interesting. Everybody has a story. Even my cats have stories. Further forward. Oh. And nature wants to heal. The body always wants to up level. It will take any opportunity given with the set of circumstances at hand to enhance life. So no matter what, there's always more improvement and growth that can be implemented and done. Further forward. And now moving up to, I'm going to move back, but you're coming right before your ankle bone. Right before, bottom of the shin, just before the ankle bone. Just allowing everything to sink in there, up and down. And now come right into the joint. So now you're right with where the crease is, that area right between the top of the foot, shin bone. Again, lots of congestion in that area. Further forward, going into the top of the foot in a minute, lifting and lowering. And now moving into the top of the foot. I'm being very attentive to keep my foot going straight in relation to my shin bone, not letting it go inwards. Further forward. Coming even further forward, I'm just at the pinnacle of the bone before it goes into the tarsal bones, the long bones that are tendinous that become your toes. I'm just at the beginning of that area. I'm pushing into the side. Twilight, you are so in the way. Now I'm on top of the foot. This is love. Me. Further forward. Now I'm coming right before the toes. I can feel the tightness. I'm sure you're feeling some interesting phenomenon. And stretching the toes down. Oh, they don't want to go. Remember, our toes, we have these little tiny bones, the knuckle bones in our hands. Everybody, you see their knuckle bones. In the feet, they should be visible. Those bones get sunk down, so that joint becomes a collapsed joint. It drops. For most people, if they really have to work to get it back, very often when the knuckle bones are dropped, those people it's common to get, let's put it this way, easy cramping of the feet. Maybe even inflammation at the bottom of the feet. This is not a formula, but when the foot is pulled back and the bones are not moving, there is a deep natural spasming and lack of movement. You add any kind of movement, and things spasm because they literally just can't release. Ah, come on up. And stretch your legs out. Flop your feet, get them loose. Now, flex, point, flex, point, flex. So these are the hinge joints. Can you feel more movement, more mobility, possibly more life? One other thing, let's have you flex, spread your toes, look at your toes, see if they spread. Push the ball of the foot down with the toes spreading. The toes are still pulled back. Now stretch your toes down. Spread the toes back up. Flex your feet. Now notice with the heel, when you flex, push your heel away from you. It should actually slide on the mat so that you're really making space in that area. For some people that doesn't happen. Point with the toes pulled up. Spread the toes and pull the toes down. Spread and pull the toes up. Flex the feet up. And flop the feet around. Just to test the range of movement, we're, in a sense, loosening things up. We're going to go into half Padmasana, half lotus. Bend the left knee and reach under. Grab your right ankle. Your left ankle, I'm sorry. So, see if you can pull the calf and bring the foot up. Now, the work we did probably loosened up the sensation in the knee for you. And just see what it's like. Bounce your knee up and down. For some of you, this may be very easy. For some of you, you may find that you can actually get a little deeper because this became longer. This front became longer, so there's more easy bend, more easy ankle work. So just check that. Let's do the same with the other side. Bend, grab your ankle, pull your calf up, bring the foot around and see what it feels like. So all of this texture in the front here can be very static. Bounce your knee up and down, just see what that feels like. Stretch your leg back out. We are going to repeat with the bigger ball. We're adding layers on this. So now you can repeat with the same balls. Again, this is all interchangeable with yoga balls. So no need to think you have to go out and buy anything special. These are the yoga tune-up balls and the yoga therapy balls from Jill Miller's company. You can find them on Amazon. Have a bigger ball or a black ball nearby because we're going to multi-layer some things here. So, whoops, on your shin bone. But now we're going to take a second ball behind the knee. So as we sit, we're doing a few things. We're opening the shin bone, we're relaxing the calf, we are releasing the hamstring, and you may feel the whole kneecap opening. So variations of this work can sometimes really sort out some very interesting problems that people have in the knee. We all get older. Maybe you have arthritis, osteoarthritis, meniscus, who knows what. And I'm not saying this is a be-all, end-all answer. Sometimes creating space in a joint and opening things up allows for fluids to come in and for the bones and the skeletal to reorganize so it's back closer to what the correct alignment was before the breakdown. And fluids and energy start to bring relief from congestion and tightness and pain. Also just respect. Stay there, and if that is not an option, you can work with a bigger ball and it will be equally effective. So sinking in. Now rolling the ball down some. the goal is, as best you can with the bigger ball. Do you see how the ball and the balls are about the same? And then as you sink in, you're putting pressure into the bones, but all of the tissue around the bones is starting to spread. So creating a huge separation. And again, you may feel it's taking the whole front of the knee and it's kind of doing this. So there's room for the kneecap. There's room for a meniscus that's off to the side, tendons and ligaments that may be off. There's a way of opening the area so sometimes things can slide back where they belong. If you feel very, very, very tight pulling, sharp pain, don't do it. Do not do it. I'm not your body and I don't know what's going on. But be smart. Use your common sense. Trust your body knows. You will have a good sense of whether this is beneficial or not. And down you go. Whoo, much more intense, more body weight, straight down. Again, you don't have to be doing this. You can be on your hands and knees. You can be very lightly putting pressure in. Use your common sense. Coming further forward, moving the ball down a bit. So we're doing lots of things at the same time. We're now dealing with even releasing the hamstring and the quad, while we're working the shin, while we're working the lower calf, going into the Achilles. Multitasking in a modern world. Very good. Further forward and down. Oh, yes. Serious openings everywhere. And further forward, interestingly enough, I feel a lot of this now getting into my foot. So notice where you feel things. What's going on? Take your time. If you're new to the work, you don't need to rush anything. The body keeps opening. I've been doing this work for a long time, so I can get into places. When I started, I had to be much more conservative. You match yourself, you meet yourself where you are. That's the smart way to do it. You will have the fastest progress. Don't try to be anybody else. Just work with what you've got. And then later you will be doomed to have people tell you, oh, you're just genetically lucky and you have good genes. Bullshit the genes, it's the work. I have seen a lot of people with really not such good conditions make massive progress because they applied themselves. Further forward. Just a little bit more. Again, sinking in. A little bit further sinking in. Oh, now I'm at the joint. So now here I have the ball right at the Achilles, between the Achilles and the heel. I'm right at the joint. Lovely place. I can feel a lot of shifting going on, slightly opening up the inside of my ankle in the, an area that I know I'm tight. So this is wonderful work. I cannot say enough about how amazing it is to get in and start to be your own therapist. Think of it. You're dealing with your body. Woohoo! right in the crease now. All right, coming out. No, you stay there. Don't come out. Don't come out. I'm just moving back so you can see because we're moving into the foot again. So now let's shift from the little balls. You're going to take a bigger ball. Yeah, medium-sized ball. Bring the pearl or the gold. A bigger ball. So first, stretch the foot down. Just extend it over and stretch it down. The softness of these balls is very soothing on the tissue. Move further forward, pressing in again. You have to be careful to balance yourself. Maybe easier to do than with the harder balls. So I'm taking the top of the ball of my foot and I'm tractioning it away from the heel and lengthening that tissue. Everything in our body should have this capacity. Everything. Different. Skull is more supple. I'm sure you've heard of massage therapists that what is called a craniosacral work. So they're working the cranium, which is the skull. So all the bones there, they have these sutures, and they're supposed to do this with every breath, out and in, and they get stuck, and then they don't. And so the therapist gently start to allow that happen. I'm exaggerating a bit. So we're doing the same. The whole body does that. Can you imagine? Isn't that fascinating? And if you're doing it with the intention of the blueprint of our physiology, amazing things can happen. Now into the toes, all the way over, really stretching those toes much softer, and come off. And again, bend and stretch. Oh, the top of my foot is totally open now. Yes, so different. And it's almost like now the achiness is gone out of this area. It's like totally got ironed out. Lovely. Let's do the other side. So now left shin bone. Back to the balls. The big ball. I'm going to start with the smaller ball so I can match. It's harder to get the big ball right up high and sinking in. Moving the balls down a little bit. I'm still going to stay with the black ball just for this next point because it's really, so I'm constantly attempting to have the ball match the ball. If you can't, don't worry about it. Now moving further forward, now I'm going to get into the bigger ball. So here you go. You have a bigger ball. Yes. I like this. This is very cool. A lot of opening happening. A lot of opening happening in the hamstring and the for me. Feel it how this bone is now shifting as well. So cool. Further forward. By the way, because this is a YouTube video, if anybody wants to post and share what you're experiencing as you do this, I read the comments. That'll be cool. What do you notice? Further forward and down. Really letting the tissue open. Further forward and down. Still a lot of congestion in my shin bone, but it's releasing. I can really feel the shift in the tissue. Further forward and down. Sometimes there's a feeling like your flesh is being pulled around. It is. Very often, you know, in anatomy books, everything's done nice and neat in a drawing or a graphic. But if you go and are involved with cadaver dissections, very often a muscle, let's say here we have a bicep, so it's supposed to go from here to here, and it can be pulled around and stuck too much and twisted, and a tendon can be tangled to another place. I mean, the body's not as neatly done. It's got a whole bunch of patterns moving further down that are off the geometry of theory. That's real life. No tree grows perfectly and symmetrically out. It's got to adapt to the forces of what's going on. So trees will have one branch going this way and that way, and then a branch is cut, so now something else goes that way. We're kind of the same. We're not this meticulous shaping, and it's very important to find the tangles. That's what we're doing. We're unwinding the tangles. We're finding, oh, I can see, I'm sitting. I can feel the ball. It's more comfortable if the ball fell out, so the body's going. I want to be in the middle of the tangle. I want to find the knot. I want to undo the tangle. So I have to keep making sure the ball's in the right place. And now it is. I can feel it. Further coming, I'm moving back so you can see I'm just before the ankle joint. Just before. Now it's in the very bottom area of the shin bone and on the Achilles tendon. Further down, sitting on the ball. No, I'm not sitting on the ball. What am I saying? I'm right at the ankle joint. I'm sitting on the pearl. And attempting, when you're in that joint area, see if you have tension there. There usually is tension. A joint, whether it's your knee or your ankle or your armpit or your elbow or your wrist, the area of the joint that is bending, especially when it's bending without, let's see, now I'm bending it, passively bending, it should relax. In the middle, it should get soft and everything sinks so that everything can open and lengthen and make space. What happens is we build this congestion right where the balls are now. They get grippy, the tissue tightens so that it's not relaxing and it's gripping, and consequently the whole area above and below the joint don't work as well. Further forward, oh, now I'm moving over to the other ball. I just have to be here for a minute. So now into the big ball. Changing gears. So now it's at the joint, but of course because it's a big ball, it's also on my shin bone, also on my foot. Sideways. So I'm stretching, I'm pulling the toes down, I'm lengthening the whole ball of the foot downwards. A little bit further forward. Oh yes. Making sure the heel is staying in alignment. Further forward. Now I'm stretching my toes. Opening up the whole front. Now we're opening the shin bone into the top of the foot. And even more into the top of the toes. really stretching them so that they're bent down. And coming off. Again, lengthening the feet out, flopping everything out, seeing what the lower leg feels like. What's it like to have a loose lower leg? And flex, point, flex, spread your toes, point. You notice a difference in the toes? If you're one of those people whose toes don't spread or move very easily, can you find more abilities in them now? I hope so. One more time. All right, okay, let's check our Padmasana again. So again, you bend. I'm grabbing my calf, so I'm rolling all of this tissue around. I'm sitting on both sit bones and bending it up as much as possible. Just how much can you bend in here? And bounce the foot a little bit, bounce the knee. If you're one of those people that the knee's right on the floor, get this leg straight and just bend over. See how your hinging happens. What's the feeling here? There should be more opening. May not be ready for that yet, but that's okay. Just a little fun test. Other foot, pull the shin bone up. I'm sorry, pull the calf up. What am I saying? So we get that. Get the foot up. Bounce your knee up and down. Check that the leg that's on the floor is straight if you can. Hinge forward if you want to. I'm going to stay right here. Bring the leg down. Now, sitting straight, let's pull the sit bones back. Again, just testing a few little things. This is more just evaluating the sensation, square, long. Take the first leg, and now this time all you're going to do is hike it up. So what I really want you to notice today is the feeling around the knee. As you bend, is there more softness right there? So many people, it's really tight. And it affects, well, you know, it's where their body's at. So we're looking to open it. So I want to see how high you can get the leg. I hope your hips didn't move. And what the feeling of this alignment is. And we're going to do a little forward bend over the front leg. For me, the knee is up, so I'm grabbing something. I want to keep the squareness here. I'm more interested in the sensation in the leg because of the low leg work that we did. And bend over. Maybe you want to go all the way down. I'm going to stay long on this side. Just feel, now as you're staying in this position, feel the thigh moving out. So this is moving out of the body, lengthening sideways as you bend forward instead of pulling in. So notice, joint very often will pull in, everything will contract, but we need to make space. We need to expand in order to find the elongation. Come back, let's do the same on the other side. So you bend, notice the sensation in the knee. How high can you get this shin bone without collapsing or shifting? If you find yourself shifting, there's more work. The quads and hips and other parts of the body. Get a block or a support if you want to, and bend forward. See what that feels like. Remember, the thigh is moving out. The shin is moving out. Everything is lengthening out. Come back. All right. So this is mostly fascia work day today. We're going to work a little bit to release and open up the energy in our upper backs. Trapezius muscles, which are huge. They run from the back of the neck on the top here. They connect into the top of the shoulder blade in the back. They're the ones that, you know, most people walk around their shoulders permanently up because those muscles are tight. And they go all the way down to the bottom of the rib cage. So think of it as a diamond, huge big diamond, but we only notice this top part. And very important for posture, we are going to take two, I'm going to use the smaller balls. Tennis balls are usable. Get them out of the tote bag for this first part. And we will put them right at the top here. So if you lie down on your backs, and excuse me, I'm moving the camera down so I can see what, yes, excellent. So I placed the two little balls on that fleshy, meaty part at the top of my shoulder blades. And if you need to, you roll a little bit so they're locked into place there. So that's the easy part. I'm prepping you. Now, lift. Let's do it let's lift our bottom up first. Lift your bottom up and you immediately notice more pressure into the balls. See if you can come up high enough that it's only feet, head, and balls on touching the floor in your arms. If it's too much, you stay down. Please don't rush. This is going to be painful. This is called chugging. Just gentle jiggling into this for everybody. I've never met a person who didn't have a reaction to this. So see what you feel like. Come down. Now we're going to intensify this. So if that was hard enough, don't intensify. Lift your head. Feel the pressure into where the balls are. Now lift up. Whoa, I haven't done this for a while. Chug. Very, very intense. This is the worst part of the class. You can do it. You're going to feel wonderful on the other side of this. Okay, head down. Down. Stay there. Don't come out yet. I know. Arms up. Take your arms over your head. Not as bad, but you're going to feel where the tightness is. Take a breath in. Release. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release. Keep that. And now bring your arms down in front of you. Just feel that. Again, arms up and back. Oh my goodness. You can turn your head a little bit side to side. You're probably going to feel all the pull. And down. One more time, up and back. Oh. Just loosening up all of those tight trapezius muscle chain. If you soften one area of the muscle, it has a harmonic into your whole body. It's miraculous. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can feel the pull into my arm right in here. The front of my arm is so, I can feel the traction because of the trapezius muscle. It's amazing. And down. Okay, fun time. You take the balls out and just take a moment and feel the blessed relief. Wow, amazing. There's a dissipation that's so pleasurable. The next one, we will be putting these back into the tote bags. So, back just keeps them from flopping all over the place. And at the top, at the bottom of your neck, there is a bulging bone, and it's called C7. What we will do is put the balls just below that area on our back. So the way you can get into it, make sure you're at the bottom of your mat. You lift your head and you put the ball, if you can get them below the bones, fine. If not, you just put them there, and then with your feet, you see you can roll and push up a little bit. So get the balls just below. And just kind of hang out there for a minute and feel the pressure. Now, you're going to lift the arms up and take them over your head. And you're going to start to feel all this pull. And imagine those balls softening all of that area around that vertebra. Because for a lot of us, we get rounded and humpy there. And some people, they have a really rounded upper area. It almost builds up a fatty quality because everything's so tight, the muscles don't work. And then the body pads in order to protect a skeletal shape that's, to be honest, a bit vulnerable. So there's a lot of wisdom in what the body does, even though we often end up resenting our bodies. You're going to go as though you're holding a steering wheel, just side to side. Just feel all of the tightness that happens because those balls are there. And then put your hands behind your head. Lift your bottom up. Lift your head up. Take a breath in, a breath out. See if you can sink into this area, soften and chug. If it's too much, don't lift your head up, or don't lift, just do the chugging on the floor. Feel that nice ironing out. And now from here, you will push with your feet and roll one vertebra down. So a little bit lower. Drop your hips. Drop your head. And again, take the arms back. Oh my goodness. This affects the whole front of my body so much. And down. Notice what you are feeling. What is amazing with this work is it can show you, it can wake up your awareness that every part of your body is interconnected. And if there's one area that's kind of being gripped and held by the balls, how it affects everything else. It's the fascia, it's a whole network of webbing throughout our body. So if one part of the neck is held, then you can feel the pull in another part of the web. And you want to expose all these different areas and stimulate them so the system gets more sophisticated. And again, here we go. Lift your head, lift your hips. So only feet and that's it, is on the floor, and the balls. So weight into the balls and chug. So you're really kind of jiggling open right between, on either side of those two vertebrae. And a little tiny bit further down, you're ironing out and start to open up all of that vertebra area right in the middle of your upper back. Put your head down. Again, lift the arms up. Imagine you have a steering wheel. Make sure you're still breathing. Imagine the balls are just sinking into your body. Back and forth with the arms. Hands behind your head, lift your head up. Lift your hips up. Chug. A little bit further forward. Take a moment. Drop your hips down. Drop your head down. Steering wheel. You should be probably in the middle of your shoulder blades right now. Back and forth with the arms. Hands behind the head, lift your hips and chug. It's very painful if you've never done this before, but you're going to be so happy. One last time, rolling down, so you're now on the underside of your shoulder blades. You're still completely into the rib cage. Hips down, head down, arms back and forth. Hands behind your head. Lift your head up. Lift your hips up. Chug. Oh my goodness. Let's go a little tiny further down. Chug there. You don't want to be at the bottom of the ribs. So just below the shoulder blades. And now the fun part. Roll all the way up. All the way up. You're ironing out the whole area. All the way, all the way, all the way through the neck. If you can get into the neck as well. And all the way up to the top of your skull. If you couldn't get the balls right at the top of your neck, so your beginning of the head, and just take a moment and rest. You should feel very nice right now. Oh my goodness, something happened. I'm yawning. Now take with your hands where the balls are. And I'm going to be turning them this way. So they kind of sliding on the mat and on my skull, and you have to be careful with your hair, not to pull your hair. But what you're doing is you're lengthening the skin and the tissue of the cervical spine or the neck area and lifting it. It gets very shortened and tight. And now hold the balls and roll your head to the right without lifting your chin. So you're going and just rock. So I'm on one ball now. Rock your head. No. Yes. Back to the center. Rock your head left. No. Yes. So interesting. My right side was very tender. My left side, no big deal. Back to the center. So because I had tenderness on the right, we'll do it one more time. To the right. Oh, much better. No. So interesting. First time was tender. Now it's worked its way out. Yes. Back to the center. Left. No. Yes. Back to the center. Now, take the ball and take it down. So your neck should be nicely stretched. We're going to take a pearl or a silver or a gold ball, whatever ball you have around you. This one's a little bit bigger. The bigger ball is better. You pull your head up and you put your head on the ball, your neck. So the head is forward, but there should be a sense of the neck being stretched. It's being lengthened and stretched. Your hands are by your sides and you wiggle your shoulders away from your ears. Now, press your shoulders in the direction of the floor and lift your hips up and then use your feet to put pressure into the back of the neck. So you're stimulating the bones, you're stretching the neck, you're pulling your shoulders down. Just feel that beautiful stretch. And then slowly melt your back down into the mat. Scooping and rolling through your whole body, all the way down. And just rest for a minute. To come out, you grab your head, you grab the ball, lift your head with your hand and put your head down. Do not kind of pop your head up, just do it with your hand. This is so important. And just for a minute, slide. So I've used my feet to slide. You see I've pulled all the skin of the trapezius down away from my ears. You want to use your feet to get that. It allows the chest to be naturally open. Lengthen and then extend your legs out. So once your legs are out, relax. And your body will close down a little bit. But now you just let go. This is it. This is who I am. I'm letting go of everything. And just close your eyes for a minute and let the body settle. We've done a lot of deep work. It has not really been a yoga practice. It's been a fascia release work, but it sets the machine up. It's honoring the body. It's healing the deep, deep tension we all hold inside us. This is priceless process. Let's take a moment being quiet. Now take some deeper breaths. And take your arms and stretch them over your head. Stretch your feet. Just give yourself a nice squeeze and a stretch like you were an animal. Oh, and then bend the knees. Roll to one side and bring yourselves up to a seated position. And let's just honor life and ourselves. So bring our hands to our knees and let's give thanks for being alive. Give thanks for having a body. Give thanks for the opportunity to learn and grow and take care of ourselves. And give thanks and honor all the wisdom that exists in the world now, the knowledge, the teachers, and the fact that we too have so much to offer, that we receive so much. It means that we can give so much, and that really that's what life's about: giving, receiving, enjoying it, and enjoying the challenges as much as the victories. Hands to your forehead, hands to your lips for a kiss, hands to your heart. Bow your head to your heart. May the mind always be the servant of the heart. And then lift your head and open your eyes, and namaste.